When it comes to rendering in DaVinci Resolve, it can seem a little bit overwhelming.
I don't know what to do next.
There's many different buttons, many different words. What does it all mean?
I don't know what it means.
Well, in this video, I'm going to give you the knowledge to understand some of the basics to get by when exporting in DaVinci Resolve. Plus, in the description, there'll be some presets, so if you can't be bothered to watch this video, just download them.
Oh my god, yes.
My name's Dan, you're watching DanVinci, and this is how to export in DaVinci Resolve. Now, I can't believe in the 2+ years that I've been doing this, maybe even 3, I haven't actually covered how to actually export your content in DaVinci Resolve. Now, these are the render settings I would recommend for a YouTube video, typically a 4K one. So over on the left-hand side of your Deliver tab, you will have your column of settings, and there's a lot of them, and I can see why you're watching this video because it's confusing, right? But really, you're only going to need to know some fundamentals. So at the top here is obviously your file name, so let's just call this, for the sake of this tutorial, DanVinci Video Render Test. And obviously you have the location, so this is where DaVinci Resolve is going to render your export to. We all know this. Let's get to the more complicated stuff, Dan. So you have your format. I would ideally recommend you go with either MP4. MP4 is a decent format, but really, at the end of the day, the best one you're going to want to use overall is QuickTime. And this is what I use 98% of the time. Then you want to go to your codec here, and you want to go to H.264. I've had trouble in the past with H.264 when, let's say, there's some export errors and some crashes when you're exporting your video. So you can jump to H.265. One is far more newer than the other, and take a guess, it's H.265. That's the newer one. It's 50% more efficient than H.264 at just encoding your footage. But for most of you out there, you're going to want H.264. Now, a quick side note, this is useful for people who want to export transparent layers in their video. So for example, let's say I cut myself out right now and there's nothing behind me and I just want me so that I can place this footage of me on something else later down the line. What you can do is export a transparent layer to your footage, because at the minute it would just export a black background and not a transparent background using the codec H.264. So if we click on H.264 and go down to GoPro Cineform here, I'd recommend you use this for a transparent layer, and then go to type and go to RGB. You can then see just down here, export alpha comes up. Make sure you have this selected, and when you export this video now, it will have a transparent layer. Just a little fun fact for you, that back in the day when I was learning DaVinci Resolve, I didn't know how to do this, and it would have been really handy if I knew how to do it. It took me ages to figure it out. Now, down from your codec, you'll have your encoder. Now, the encoder is the hardware that is going to encode or create your footage for you. And with your editing machine, depending on what you have, you'll have different options. But for me, if you click on auto, I have NVIDIA, which is my GPU, which you might be familiar with, the most valuable company in the world, which I wish I bought stocks in when I was about 7 years old, but oh well, I missed out. I'm sure a lot of you did as well. And I currently have Intel QuickSync, which is a piece of encoding technology which is integrated into Intel CPUs. So it has like some form of integrated graphics. I never use this because I have a GPU and it's far quicker. So if you have either your GPU or your CPU to choose from, I'd recommend you go with your GPU if you have to choose. Ultimately, keep Encoder on auto because DaVinci Resolve will know best. DaVinci Resolve always knows best. It's the greatest software on planet Earth. And native basically means sort of the same thing as Intel QuickSync, where it's using your CPU. And you don't really want that, really, because chances are your GPU is quicker than your CPU at encoding things. But yeah, just leave this on auto, ultimately. All of that for just me to say, leave it on auto. Resolution. This is going to be completely up to you. On your screen now will be the resolution for a typical 4K video. I don't export my videos, if you've noticed, typically in 16:9 because I just like to shoot things a little bit different. Can you not tell I'm a little bit quirky? When you click on this, you have a selection of various different resolutions here. Now, you want to really click this one just here, which is your typical 4K video. Or if you're doing 1080p, you want to do, where is it? 1920, there it is, 1920 by 1080. Those are two typical 16:9 videos. If you're doing short form and you want a typical short form, just reverse these. So you do, instead of 1920 by 1080, you do 1080 by 1920. And it's the same with the 4K selection, 3840 by 2160. You just reverse it, 2160 by 3840. So to create a custom custom timeline resolution, just go to custom here, and then you can just type in whatever you want. 3840 by 2160. There you go, great. Or you can use timeline resolution. So if you're happy with your timeline's resolution, you can just set it to that. Now, obviously we have frame rate. Now your frame rate here is typically locked to what your timeline settings were set to when you created the project. If you really want to change this and you find that you've set your timeline settings in the past and didn't realize it, what you can do is go into your media pool, right click, click on timelines, and then click create new timeline. From here, what you can do is click the use project settings button in the bottom left corner, and then click on format. Here, this will give you the option to change your frame rate. Once you've created a new timeline in the FPS that you want to use, you can then copy and paste the work that you've done into that timeline and then jump into the deliver tab on the correct FPS timeline that you want and export from there. It is so warm in here. Right now in the UK, there is a massive heat wave and I don't have air conditioning. So this room is about 32 degrees, which is why I'm drinking water a lot. Now on to the most important section, quality, which is literally what it says on the tin. You can't get more easy to understand than this. Basically, if number higher, then quality higher. That's all you need to know, really. You can have this to automatic and just have it at best, but what I would do is click restrict to. Now, this is important because what it does is tells DaVinci Resolve to not exceed the set cap. And here I have it set to 50,000 kilobits a second. At any given point when rendering, your file will not exceed this amount. I'd recommend going to restrict to, and I tend to have everything set to about 60,000. 60,000 or higher, you can go all the way up to 100,000. If you want the best quality, 100,000, keep it there. It's brilliant for that. But I tend to do 60,000 simply because I don't have much space, and SSDs right now are crazy expensive, but do 60,000 or above, you're good. Really 50,000 really you can get away with. From here, you don't really need to worry about this. Keep it on auto, keep it on automatic. It's fine. Don't worry. Don't stress too much. Then you want to go down to rate control. You want to go from variable bit rate down to constant bit rate, and this will lock it in at 60,000. Annoyingly, since filming this has changed just a little bit, but I would still recommend that you select constant bit rate. These are the options you have in the new update in DaVinci Resolve 21. You have a variable bit rate setting, which is aimed towards a higher quality of render, and then you have a variable bit rate target. Basically, both variable bit rates are almost the same and they do exactly what they say on the tin. One aims for a much more higher quality variable bit rate and the other is more targeted. Don't worry too much about the advanced settings. As long as they're roughly what you can see on my screen here, you don't have to worry too much. And feel free to download some of the presets I've made in the description and compare when you're wanting to create your own templates, as this will save you a lot of time.
I'm not having my time wasted by some half-assed fish cake opponent today.
Then let's go down to subtitle settings here. This is important for if you have subtitles on your screen, because if you click export right now, it won't show them. It's so stupid. I don't know why it doesn't just default this for you. Come on, Blackmagic, you could do that. It's easy.
It's not easy for me!
Then if you click export subtitles, go down to format. We want to make sure it's burnt into the video. It can be exported as a separate file. I can see why this is useful, but why isn't it set to burn into video by default? I know Blackmagic watches my videos, so it'd be good if this was the default. I personally, and I'm willing to bet on this, most people who make subtitles of their videos don't want a separate file when they export the video. They want it to just be burnt in by default. So I've been caught out by this a few times, especially when I don't have presets made. That's why you should make presets. Download mine. I'm not biased. Once that's done, if you have subtitles, I'm going to turn this off because I don't have subtitles, but keep that on if you do. You can go up to audio. I'd recommend for most people, if we go onto linear and then make sure the sample rate is the same as project, it's a no-brainer. It's the safest way for your audio to just sound how it did in the edit page. Great, so I'm happy with this. So let's add this to my render queue. So over here in the right corner here, I've got the old export there. Just get rid of that. It will create a job just as a little bonus knowledge. Welcome to bonus knowledge. Basically, if you select this area here, you'll notice this goes to render all, but if you select one, it will render just that one job. So this is useful for if you have multiple jobs and you just want to render one. So just delete them and just keep the one. Thank you for watching Bonus Knowledge.
That's weird, man.
So if you want to make this job a preset, just click on the edit tool, make sure you're in it just here. You'll know if it says update job just down here. And what you want to do is go on the three dots here, save as new preset, and I'm going to call this DanVinci Video Preset. And then you can also click add to quick exports. This is that little drop down if you click file, quick export in your edit page. So if you want that to be there, you can do that, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna click save. And there you go. You've created a preset, which you can see just here. So you can have custom export, and then there's some of the DaVinci Resolve basics there. Now, if you're wondering why your presets look a little bit different, that'll be because you're on DaVinci Resolve 21. In DaVinci Resolve 21, they've cleaned this up and made the presets a drop down tool, like you see on your screen right now. There isn't actually any difference. The aesthetic aesthetic has just changed, that is all. And there you go. That is how you create basic exports in DaVinci Resolve for YouTube. I've got some really different, exciting content coming up this summer, so feel free to get subscribed because it's very different and I haven't seen anyone make a video on it before. So hopefully it'll do well. Who knows? My name's Dan. You've watched DanVinci. Thank you very much for watching and I'll see you in the next one.